You support homosexuality, same-sex marriage,
No.
and
See,
all that's. Let me just finish.
Go ahead.
And you are now supporting that by supporting Joe Biden. Are you? And it appears that you have turned on President Trump. You turned on the Great White Hope, right? And you turned on conservatism. Could you be trusted now?
Well, certainly I could be trusted, yeah, because I didn't turn on anything. Trump turned on me first. I didn't turn on him.
And that's why you turned on him, because you believe he turned on you?
No. You're not allowed to attack my family members from the presidential Twitter feed. The Black Lives Matter movement is not as radicalized as you're professing. Joe Biden is not as radicalized as you're professing. And the racial tension in the country has been exacerbated by President Trump, not made better. And the fact that he mishandled the economy blew up the economy. And during the Obama administration, you had 4.7% unemployment when Obama left, and you've got 10.2% unemployment. And you talk about conservatism.
You're not an honest man. That's why I call you a beta. I call you a beta male because you're Rhino now, and I'm disappointed. Let me ask, I know you're a male, but are you a man?
I don't know how you're defining that, my man. I don't know how you define it.
And how do you define man? What is a man?
How do I define a man?
Yes.
Well, I mean, listen. I mean, if you're saying to me, do I believe in the whole concept of androgyny and the spectrum?
No, I'm just asking you, Anthony. What is a man?
I probably haven't thought about it as much as you have, but
why not?
To me, there's a lot of different components to being a man. I think the stuff I take the most pride in is being a dad and being a provider to my family, and also having a backbone and being somebody that people can rely on. You know.
So a man is someone that provide, being someone that people can rely on. Am I right?
Yeah.
Should you be able to trust a man? Is a man trustworthy?
Well, I don't think it's just men. I think women should be.
But I'm asking about a man. Is a man trustworthy?
Sure. Where are you going, my brother?
I'm getting there. Just ride with me. I'm getting to know you, and so I'm asking because I don't want to assume anything. I never assume. So is a man trustworthy?
You do assume a little, because you were coming at me pretty hard on Twitter. So you do assume a little. You know, you're, and I get it, because you got a following and you've got a certain philosophy and certain principles. But I think that the reason why I wanted to come on your show is that what we have to do is we have to break down the stereotypes that we have of each other, and certainly what we see of each other on social media, what we may see of each other on television or even radio. And I think as we get to know each other better, what happens is you get a mutuality of respect, and you get a mutuality of potential cooperation long term.
Right. You're absolutely right. Is a man trustworthy?
It should be, yes. Absolutely.
Would a man ever turn on a friend? Let's say that you work for me, you and I agreed, but something went wrong. We just agreed on something, and you left. Would you ever turn on me?
Well, I believe in reciprocity. You know, I don't believe in asymmetrical relationships. I believe that relationships have to be symmetrical. So would I turn on you? No. But if you turned on me, okay, you would definitely lose my support. You would definitely, there's no asymmetry to loyalty. There's no asymmetry to friendship. It needs to be symmetrical.
Are you a man that can be trusted?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And so now you're supporting the Democratic Party by supporting Joe Biden. Joe Biden is a far left liberal radical. He doesn't know if it's night or day, it appears.
Right.
And he's supporting abortion. He support abortion. He support homosexuality, same-sex marriage. and
See,
all that's. Let me just finish.
Go ahead.
And you are now supporting that by supporting Joe Biden. Are you? And it appears that you have turned on President Trump. You turned on the Great White Hope, right? And you turned on conservatism. Could you be trusted now?
Well, certainly I could be trusted, yeah, because I didn't turn on anything, actually. What I'm more concerned about is the country and the institutions of our democracy, and I'm more concerned about the 244-year experiment that is America and the threat that President Trump represents to that democracy. And so that supersedes political philosophy. That's more of a systemic issue. But Trump turned on me first. I didn't turn on him.
And that's why you turned on him, because you believe he turned on you?
No. You're not allowed to attack my family members from the presidential Twitter feed. So what happened was Mr. Trump went after the squad, 3 African-American women and one Hispanic woman.
Those women are evil.
But they have a right to be in the country. They're born in the country.
The president has a right to say what he wants to say about them. And if those women,
listen,
he didn't turn on them by being honest about them.
No. You see, now we're getting, it's your show. So if you want to talk over me, you can. But if you want to hear my point of view, I'll share it with you. It's up to you.
I want to know, as a man who is a Catholic and married with children, can you be trusted now that you have gotten on board with Joe Biden and the Democrats? Can you be trusted?
Absolutely. Can the president be trusted? He's told 22,000 lies since he got the office. Can the president be trusted? He's taking mail sorting machines out of the U.S. Post Office to try to contrive the election. Can the president be trusted?
How many lies have you told since turning on the president?
How many lies have I told?
Yes.
I'm not telling any lies, bro.
How many lies have Joe Biden told?
Look at my face, my man. I'm 56 years old. I don't need to tell any lies.
How many lies have Joe Biden told since running for president?
Less than Trump.
How many has he told?
I have no idea. He's a politician.
So why is it that you know how many the Great White Hope have told, but you don't know how many Joe Biden have told?
He's not the Great White Hope, my man. He's a very dangerous guy.
No, but I'm asking you, you know how many, quote unquote, how many the president have told.
It's not the Great White Hope. You don't go after the institutions of the country. He swore an oath. You want to talk about a disavowal?
I know, but you didn't answer my question. Why is it that you don't know how many lies Joe Biden have told, but you know how many lies the Great White Hope have told? Why don't you know how many lies Joe Biden told?
Well, I'm probably paying closer attention to President Trump.
But you should pay closer attention to Joe Biden since you're supporting him now.
You're missing something that I think is very, very important in the conversation. The first test as a patriot is, do you believe in the constitutional system and the diffusion of power and the separation of powers that have made us all free, that have allowed me to live the American dream the same way you have? Do you believe in that, yes or no? If you believe in that, then you can't impart your religious views on others. Your religious views are your views and the views of your family. If you don't believe in that, then that's fine. You're entitled to your opinion under the process of freedom of speech.
My concern is greater than that, Anthony. My concern is greater than that, because what I've noticed is that people such as yourself, they pretend to be conservative Republicans, and when things don't go their way, they jump ship, they become rhinos, and they support the Democrats. We need a government that works for the people and not against them. And I can understand that maybe you disagree.
We got to get rid of President Trump.
I can understand that maybe you disagree with the president, but I don't understand what type of person would go out and support. Hold on a minute. I don't understand what type of person would go. Hold on 1 minute. Hold on, Anthony. I can't trust a man that would. I understand you disagree with the president. You got fired, you disagree. But you went from pretending to be a Republican to so totally supporting a far left liberal radical party like the Democratic Party, it says a lot about your character, and I don't know how you hold your head up knowing that we can see both sides of you now. How do you live with yourself like that?
I live with myself just fine. How do you live with yourself supporting that guy, man? That's a dangerous guy. He's destroyed your economy.
But you pretended to support him at one time. Were you pretending?
No. My support, as your support should be as a citizen and a voter, should be conditional upon performance. He doesn't have unconditional support from me. He's not my family member. He's not my wife. He's not my brother. He was hired to do a job. Keep America safe, make America richer, spread out the wealth in America, strengthen our alliances around the world. He's made America weaker. He's made America sicker. He's made America poorer. He's classically
But you're not just going after the president. You're trying to help support destroying the whole country.
He bullies his private citizens from the presidential Twitter feed.
Anthony, because of time, those are talking points. Because of time, those are talking points. I want to ask you.
Those are not talking points.
Those are talking points. Joe Biden blamed the president for all the terrorist attack upon America by the far left liberal radical.
1,000% his fault.
Let me.
1,000% the president's fault.
Hold on. Hey, Anthony.
Lack of managerial skills.
I haven't asked a question yet.
Destroyed the economy.
Anthony, I haven't asked a question.
No, but it's the president's fault.
Far left liberal radical Black Lives Matter is a radical organization that was founded by fat black radical lesbians and Antifa radical white people. Joe Biden and the Democrats are allowing these things to happen in the city. They're doing nothing to stop the violence. And they blame it on President Trump. Do you agree with that?
I do disagree with that, yes.
You disagree with Joe Biden?
No, I disagree with what you're saying.
What am I saying that you disagree with?
Well, the Black Lives Matter movement is not as radicalized as you're professing. Joe Biden is not as radicalized as you're professing. And the racial tension in the country has been exacerbated by President Trump, not made better. And the fact that he mishandled the economy blew up the economy. And during the Obama administration, you had 4.7% unemployment when Obama left, and you've got 10.2% unemployment. And you talk about conservatism.
You're not an honest man. That's why I call you a beta. I call you a beta male because you're Rhino now, and I'm disappointed. So let me ask, if black people were to get married, fathers and mothers set a good examples for their children, would black people be better off or worse off?
I don't know the individual. If you're saying, is it better for children to be in nuclear families versus not nuclear families? In some cases, I believe that that's the case. In some other cases, if a woman is married to somebody violent.
No, but I'm going to ask you a simple question. If black people got married and fathers and mothers set a good example for the children, raised them, be a good example, taught them to work, be responsible, to treat all people the way they would like to be treated, would black people be better off today or worse off?
Yeah. Again, I think you're making an overly generalized statement.
No, I just would like a yes or no to the question.
An generalized answer would be yes.
So why aren't you people pushing that rather than all of this fake ideal about racism, police brutality, slaverism, and all that? Why aren't you pushing, hey, you black people, you need to go back to family? Because when I grew up on a plantation, as you know, I guess, I grew up under the Jim Crow laws. And I was born on a plantation. We worked the plantation. I remember for blacks only signs and all that. But because black people got married, they were taught, they worked hard, they bought land, they treated all people the way they would like to be treated. They didn't blame other people. They didn't blame the white folks and all that. Black people were doing very well. It didn't change until the fake civil rights movement started, which should have never happened. That's when blacks gave their lives over to the so-called black leader and the government. And it's just been downhill since then. Why aren't you people promoting family rather than all this other false excuses?
Don't overgeneralize, Jesse. You can't say you people because it's not me.
I don't hear you promoting family for the black people.
Well, it's not just for the black people. I promote family for all people.
But I don't ever hear you promoting for the black. You're blaming President Trump for something he has nothing. Black people have been tripping for 70 years now, and you're saying
President Trump puts out a tweet that he wants to knock out lower income housing.
I do too.
Suburbs. I'm sorry?
Would you rather for black people to live in low-income houses or work hard, buy their own home, and live like normal people? What would you prefer?
Well, I would like everybody to live in...
How about the blacks? How about the blacks?
But again, it's all people. But what you're missing...
How about the blacks, though? I'm asking about the blacks.
My family didn't start with any money.
I know that.
We didn't start with any money. So,
the blacks can do the same.
But I got buddies of mine that were in lower income housing in the neighborhood I grew up in that went on to live the American dream.
So why don't you recommend that to Black Lives Matter rather than this fake idea about racism and police brutality? It's not real. Do you agree with me that
there's no fear for African American young men when they are interacting with the police?
Absolutely no.
Okay.
Absolutely no. Are you surprised that Joe Biden? Are you surprised? It's a lie. Black people are not afraid of cops. They're lying to you. And if you notice, Anthony, the people who are getting hurt or affected by cops, which is minor, they are overreacting. They are not following the instructions of the officer, and they're all thugs and criminals. Decent black people are not being affected by cops. Have you noticed that?
Well, Doc Rivers, whose father was a cop, says that he has to have a conversation with his children related to the potentiality of them being stopped by police officers.
But you're not answering my question. I asked, have you noticed that decent black people...
Because, Jesse, I don't know the answer to your question, okay? I'm telling you, my observation is some of what you're saying is true, and some of what you're saying is not true because...
What have I said that's not true?
Well, you said that good people or,
decent blacks,
are not affected by the interaction with police.
That's why the decent black want cops in the community. It's the thugs.
Okay, but Doc Rivers is an example of that. He gave a speech last week.
What do you say about the thugs who hate cops, but the decent black people, Black Lives Matter, the radical far left, fat black lesbians, they want to defund cops, right? But decent black people want cops in the community. Right. So if decent black people want cops, who do you support, the decent blacks or the far left liberal radical like Black Lives Matter?
I support decency around the board. It doesn't matter.
So do you want to defund the cops?
Do I want to know? Joe Biden doesn't want to defund the cops.
Well, why hasn't he denounced that?
Of course he has.
When?
He said it again. It's in the platform of the Democratic Party.
No.
Clyburn said it. Joe Biden said it. None of these guys wanted to fund the cops.
Let me ask you this. The Democratic Party voted...
Fracking? Trump says that Biden's against fracking. Joe Biden's out there yesterday saying he's for fracking.
Anthony, the Democratic Party, that guy, Doc Rivers, I kind of remember who he is. He's a weak guy. He's evil. I wouldn't follow him. Don't listen to him, Anthony. He's a beta male. But let me ask you.
Don't be demonizing people, my man.
No, he's a beta male. Let me ask.
Don't be demonizing people.
No, I'm calling it out as it is. He's evil.
No, you do a little bit of demonization there. Don't do that.
No, he's evil. That's the guy that cried on the camera, right?
We're all human beings. Don't be demonizing.
Isn't he the guy that from the NBA that cried on camera?
Yeah, you cannot.
He's a beta male.
All right, man.
But let me ask you.
I see where you're going with all this. Do me a favor, though, because I had an 11:30 meeting.
Yeah, I know. Let me ask you really fast. The last question.
I don't want to be rude to you, but the flip side is I want you to invite me back after the election.
And you will come back, right?
Will I come back? Yeah, 100%.
One last quick question. The Democratic Party voted in the last election to get rid of God as a platform as a part of their platform with the Democratic Party. They voted that at their convention. Do you support that?
I don't support that, and what you said is not true.
It is true.
They said the Pledge of Allegiance all 4 nights under God. All 4 nights. There's actual videotape.
They want to get rid of under God and the Pledge of Allegiance. Do you support that?
They said the Pledge of Allegiance.
Anthony, you're not an honest man.
All 4 nights.
Your wife don't like honest men, dishonest men.
Yeah, I'm not being dishonest, though. All of that's factual. So you got to be careful when you follow Trump because he's telling so many lies and he says them so many times over and over again, you can start to believe.
I can't trust you. You turn on a friend. Even if you don't disagree, even if you disagree with him, I wouldn't go out. I wouldn't go out and put.
Hey, Jess, you don't go after my family members on the presidential Twitter feed.
But I wouldn't go out and put down the man that gave me a job either.
Before I go, Jesse, do I look like Ted Cruz to you?
No, that's for sure. No.
You don't go after my family members on the presidential Twitter feed without having a fight with me.
But you turned on your boss.
I didn't turn on him. He turned on me.
A real man would not go out and turn. He would have appreciation for the job, but he wouldn't turn on.
Never go after my wife on the presidential Twitter feed, man.